Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King, and I hope you're all having a wonderful day. And if any of you are not having a wonderful day, I hope you get better guys. So yeah, today I'm gonna be giving you part 15 of What If Naruto Was Blamed and It Changed Him guys. Remember to share to all of your friends in your social media platform. Get this one to 200 likes as usual, and I'll be posting the next part as soon as possible. Remember, if you're new, to go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. Thank you for all for your help and your support. Comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying talking back to all of you guys. And yeah, without further ado, what do you say begin this new episode? Start the intro. So, the last time we left off, Kakashi and the group found Naruto as they brought him back to the meeting place. Kakashi was worried because Naruto was silent, dead silent despite what he just heard, that he was going to be locked away and they would have to force the fight before his safety. But he did not utter a single word. That worried Kakashi. Making their way back there, the Raikage wanted Naruto to remove his mask, but Naruto didn't comply. As Tsunade stepped in, Naruto was her shinobi, and he didn't have to remove his mask, and it's a matter for his safety as well. The Raikage shrugged as he went on to explain the reason for the entire situation, and Naruto simply complied, once again shocking the ones that knew him. As the group made their way back to Konoha, Jiraiya had went to the Toad, Garatora, that was sealed away with a scroll with a key that could unlock the power of the fox. When Jiraiya came back to the village, he was surprised that Naruto was there as well. Going back to the office, Naruto didn't really care, as that surprised them all once again. He didn't really seem to mind, and then he told Tsunade that she was a Hokage. It was up to her, not him, and if it was for their safety, it didn't matter. Tsunade didn't see that hope in his eyes as he removed his mask, as she suspended his life as a hunter nin, given the situation, as she saw nothing looking back at her. Naruto made his way towards the Inazaka compound. As Hana didn't like it one bit, but she couldn't go with Naruto either, that made it even worse. But the both of them spent the night together. The next morning, Tatsumi talked to Naruto as she gave him a necklace, fully accepting Naruto inside the Inazaka compound, as her daughter is madly in love with this boy. And Tatsumi knew that Naruto was a wonderful man. So with that, Naruto spent the rest of his time checking out his apartments and making his way, getting what he needed before they set off, as he said goodbye to Hana. With that, him and Jiraiya made his way, along with Yamato, who was assigned to guard Naruto. The Mizukage was there as well. She was Naruto's personal guard, as the Kages had talked about it. Arriving towards the Turtle Island, Naruto went towards a waterfall of truth. Seeing that Killer Bee was not there, he was taken by pain, leaving Naruto as the only Jinchuriki. So with that, Naruto spoke to his lighter self. Yes, in this situation, Naruto was a dark one, killing without remorse. As Naruto decided to comply with his lighter self, he was not going to stop killing. He was still going to perform at his best. But those who didn't deserve it or got defeated, he could bring them back, showing a bit of mercy. As with that, him and his lighter half shake hands. So yeah guys, so it's basically that's what I thought. You guys can switch across the page and check out for yourself. So what do you say begin this new episode? Naruto opened his eyes. As he was back in the outside world, he saw Jiraiya and Yamato looking at him, like they expect him to explain what happened inside, with him and his other half. Naruto got to his feet and simply walked off, like he knew where they were going next. The other three took it as a sign that Naruto wasn't going to share what happened. Both me and Yamato cared little about it, what Jiraiya wanted to know. He would ask Naruto later though, once the boy calmed his thoughts. True to Jiraiya's plan, Naruto's mind was now in turmoil. If what he saw at the waterfall was real, then he was the darker half. All of those killings transformed him into something else. It wasn't bad by any means, but if he didn't kill these guys 2 or 3 years ago starting, the situation would be an entirely different one. But now their debts are catching up to him. And having seen it and comply with his other half, Naruto started to feel it as being their executioner. Before, he killed them without any form of mercy to rid this world of criminals. Now he started to feel their blood on his hands. What was with the sudden change, he wondered. As he remembered touching Alter Naruto by shaking his hand, he wondered if by touching Alter Naruto that changed him and brought back his old beliefs, mingling with his hunter sect mind. Always believe in capturing an enemy before moving in for a kill. It was his promise to his alter ego. But will that really change anything? Before his hunter name license was revoked, Naruto was currently taking on A-rank missing ends. Those are Konoha's most violent and powerful villains in history, not to mention when you go on to the S ranks. Capturing them may not be that easy to accomplish, it would be better just to kill them. As he realized capturing these criminals were much harder than killing them. In order to capture, you must be even stronger. That is the main reason why Akatsuki was so powerful. They couldn't risk destroying the Jinchurikis, so they settled for capturing them instead. That took a whole nother level of skill, because of the amount of power they had to face off against. If he could harness the power of the fox, that was the only way Naruto see himself capturing these criminals instead of killing them. That was a new resolve in his mind now. He knew he couldn't change the past, and the world was better off with some of them being dead. And he didn't regret what he did because of this. Well, this should be better. After all, he made a deal with Alter Naruto. Jiraiya noticed Naruto relax his shoulders and his posture a bit. Whatever happened to him in there, it seems like he was much more at ease. As Jiraiya felt that Naruto was now ready to receive his father's last gift, increasing his step a bit, he told him to follow him as he took a left. The cave should be a few miles away from here now. We're close. Time skip. Naruto wondered what the hell was going on as he had turned back towards a waterfall. But he was in a strange cave. As they walked through the waterfall, Yamato being the last one to walk through, as they took a minute to look around the place before them now. As it was a normal cave surrounded by water in front of him, there was a path that was surrounded by headless statues. They went through the path as they reached the end of it, where a lion mouth could be seen on the wall. Okay Naruto, this step is very important from what information I was able to gather. The waterfall was the first step needed for your training to begin. Whatever you saw back there must be remembered right now. This lion statue is quite dangerous for those with evil in their hearts. You have to stick your head inside the lion's mouth, but be warned, if you have evil in your hearts, it will snap shut and decapitate you in the process. You must remember what you saw at the waterfall at all times. This will be your second step towards mastering the fox chakra. Naruto looked at the lion statue before he shrugged and placed his head inside. Once inside, he waited for danger so he can use a replacement technique to escape. But he saw nothing happening. He saw a red button as he was about to press it, but he remembered what Jiraiya said. The statue would decapitate him if he has evil in his heart. Naruto was a hunter ninja. He killed a lot of enemies in the past, so why the statue did not move? He remembered what his alter ego said though. He wasn't evil, his methods were. He remembered that big goofy smile his alter ego showed him when they shook hands. Jiraiya said that he needed to remember what he saw at the waterfall. Well, he saw himself 3 years ago, before Asuma was murdered by the Akatsuki. Naruto pushed the button. As he removed his head from the lion's mouth, a door suddenly materialized, with a chamber filled with white light. Naruto was about to step inside, but Jiraiya stopped him. Without saying anything, Jiraiya went through hand signs before opening his mouth wide. A strange tube got out of his mouth as it expanded, revealing that it was a strange looking toad. His body appeared to be a scroll. The scroll opened up in front of them, confusing everyone including Naruto except for Jiraiya. As Naruto saw the seal and array on the scroll, Naruto, this is Jiraiya. He's the one who carried the final he needed for you to fully control the fox chakra. Now why don't you focus on chakra to your fingers and touch that square at the center? The fourth Hokage always wanted you to have it. Naruto nodded as he did what he was told. The scroll was then closed afterwards. Jiraiya told Naruto to open his mouth wide. Naruto wondered what the hell was going on, but he decided to comply. The toad then jumped towards him and started going down his throat. As the toad was not going down, Jiraiya moved forward and pushed the toad, as Naruto had to wheeze. As he looked up at Jiraiya, damn it, what was that toad thinking? He at least could have warned me. As Jiraiya looked rather amused by the whole situation. The same thing happened with him when Minato sealed the Kyuubi's chakra. Now Naruto, we're on to the third and last step. But no, you'll be alone for this next step. I'm sure that you know what you have to do now. Naruto wiped his mouth as he nodded. Yes, open the gate and fight the fox for his chakra. Jiraiya nodded as Naruto ignored Mei and Yamato outbursts of him releasing the fox. Remember what you saw at the waterfall. Now get in there, said Jiraiya. Just remember that once you free the fox, you have to capture his chakra, literally. You know what I mean once you get there. Be warned though, the fox could suck your chakra dry as well. If you wish to take your time, feel free. We're going nowhere for a while. Naruto nodded, but he didn't feel like waiting for it. As he entered the room, as the door shut, he was truly alone within this, whatever it's going to entail. Yamato went up to Jiraiya. He wasn't that thrilled, dealing with a loose Kyuubi. Jiraiya-sama, with all due respect, I don't think it is wise for Naruto to free the Kyuubi. What happens if he can't handle it and Fox escapes? This cave was built special for taming tail beast Yamato. If Naruto can't stop the fox, I will seal it inside the chamber. According to Raikage, this was the exact design purpose for it. Time skip. Inside the chamber, as Naruto's already sitting down, his eyes closed. Opening back his eyes, he was inside of his mindscape. The fox could see that Naruto has changed, as he brought back some of his ideals that he had before. As Naruto simply moved forward and ripped off the seal, there was another design there. What are you doing, Naruto? Just wait and see, said Naruto. I'm almost done. As he lifted up his shirt, he activated the seal as it spread throughout his right arm. With the key in place, Naruto turned his seal on his stomach as it started to click open. The moment he reached the final one though, the fox knocked it open as the gates opened wide. The fox looked down at Naruto. So, you were awfully quiet throughout this whole ordeal, Kyuubi. Why didn't you speak your mind when this entire thing started? For someone with half a brain, you actually caught on quick. I don't have any intention of fighting back. If you decide to take my power, the fact that you free me from the cage is good enough. Even if you take my chakra, it's not like you're gonna get rid of me that easily, you brat. Let's just say it's been fun since you started your hunting career, and I expect more fun to come in the future. Now, you can see that next to me, right? That aura. It looked just like me. As Naruto realized he had one too, just like the fox. You can grab and start to suck on the chakra. It will hurt like hell, but knowing that it will be used to squash our enemies, that will be enough. How can I tell if you're just screwing with me, and you will capture mine as soon as I drop my guard? The fox actually smiled. Given the right circumstances, I would do just that. It's one of the reasons I'm letting you take it, you brat. Now go on already, before I change my mind and eat you. Naruto simply smiled, as he did as he was instructed. The fox set with a roar of pain as his chakra was being absorbed in Naruto's body. When the procedure was finished, the fox looked smaller. Naruto looked at his body. A new seal design came on his chest, and his entire body was covered in a golden flame. The fox wasn't out. It would just take a little while for him to gather back his chakra. Naruto moved forward. Damn you, brat, said Kurama, as he saw the pity in Naruto's eyes. I might take more offense to the pity that you're looking at me with. Don't worry, my chakra will return in no time. Naruto nodded, as he sat down right beside the fox. Sorry about that, Naruto was cut off as two people appeared in front of him. The first one, a red-haired female, and the other one, a blonde-haired male, looking down at him. As the both of them started to walk towards him, it was the fox that announced their names. So, Kushina Uzumaki and Minato Namikaze. Seems they set it up to see you again. It's not like we're thrilled to see you either, Fox. But if it means seeing your son for the first time, then so be it, said Minato. Kushina, for her part, looked at her son's face. He didn't greet them, or did he say anything in reply? Still wearing the new cloak, Naruto looked at the man who called himself his father. He always imagined what it would be like to see the fourth Hokage for the first time, even before he knew him, as he always wanted to be like Minato. As time progressed, the role model feeling got lost, and the only thing he focused on was getting rid of the criminals, so no harm could come to those that he wished to protect. Naruto still had respect for the man as a great power person with skill, but as his father, no. Seeing the man who sealed the Kyuubi inside him in the first place, that respect kind of sank. The letter that he wrote, by the way, that didn't help much either. Looking to the right, Naruto saw the woman that claimed to be his mother. The way the both of them were looking at him, as he looked towards Kushina, seems like they were waiting for a reaction of finally seeing his dead, long-lost parents. However, the thing was that Naruto wasn't aware of the concept of family. He grew up without knowing the love and care that came from being raised by a mother and father. The only concept of family he was introduced to was the Inuzukas. But Kiba and Hana were already adults and high-level shinobi. Son, that snapped Naruto from his thoughts. Kushina was the one to speak. Why, are you just sitting there? Minato looked at Naruto firmly. The boy was reluctant towards them. Naruto got to his feet and closed his eyes. Minato believed that he would open up to them a bit. But when Naruto opened his eyes, it was the same expression as before. Why are you two repeating the word son to me? For all I know, the so-called parents of mine died 17 years ago. Both Minato and Kushina knew that he would have to explain how they appear and why only now, as he must have been through a lot, and they were never there for him. But the way he said it, it hurt them a lot. Kushina looked at Minato as he looked back at her. He nodded as he stepped forward to do the talking. It seems we owe your apology, Naruto, because we have yet to explain how we're here. You see, and Minato started to explain everything. How, when Kushina went to labor, and the man claimed to be Madara attacked the village with the fox. Naruto was shocked to hear that Kushina was the Kyuubi Jinchuriki before him, but never once did he stop and interrupted. Naruto, feelings reduced a bit, once it, was revealed that it was the Akatsuki, the man named Madara that started everything by using Kyuubi. So after performing the ritual, I seal our chakra inside of you so that we could meet you one day. Our essence was linked to the seal that kept the Kyuubi at bay. So when you ripped it off, our link to the seal ended and we appeared. We wanted to be with you so badly, Naruto, to see you growing up, to see the man that you have become now. But Naruto's face wasn't showing any emotion at all. He had one more thing to question them about though. Minato wanted Naruto to open up, to speak to his son. But Naruto wasn't talking about that. Is this Madara the same one that lead the Akatsuki? Uchiha Madara? Minato and Kushina were able to see everything. They were a part of Naruto. So, Minato nodded. At the time, we engaged in battle and I managed to wound him. But the Kyuubi was far more important than him. I know that you may be angry for what I had. No, not really, said Naruto. As Hokage, you had to stay in the village no matter what. Therefore, you picked me because I was born at the same time. The way he was looking at them, it was like he didn't recognize them as his parents, as Minato noticed that. As a father though, the story is different, isn't it? I read the letter you wrote to me, Hokage. Sorry, I was expecting something different than your so-called reasons though. The part of the Kyuubi, I'm pissed about that, yes. But if I complain about that, I would be a spoiled, selfish brat that complained and tried to pick himself over the entire village. Kushina was actually feeling pain, as her son wasn't opening up to her. He didn't even call her mom. But as for the part of you sealing the Kyuubi inside of me, said Naruto. Naruto vanished. As Minato eyes widened, Naruto smashed his fist right into his stomach. For the first time, Kushina saw emotions on the blonde face. He was shaking in anger, his eyes were switching from blue to red. The letter that he left behind explained his reason before his death. It made no sense. There was not an exact reason, as Naruto was shaking. Ever since I was little, I was alone. Ever since I was little, I didn't know my parents. I didn't know why I was abandoned. Everything related to you was S-rank secret, decreed by the third Hokage. For all intents and purposes, even I couldn't know who you two were. Everyone knew about it but me, but they wouldn't tell me anything for fear of breaking the law. So I grew up never knowing why I was alone in this world, never knowing who my parents were. I didn't know if they died or if they abandoned me because of some pathetic reason. Even Gigi, the only person that helped me in the past, couldn't divulge that information. Nothing, not even your names or reasons for abandoning me alone in the world. He couldn't tell me from fear of me finding out the truth about you guys. When I read your letter state that it was by your crest fort, I was furious. If you two were here this entire time, you will know how I came to know who my father was. Yes, it was a damn Tishikage who wanted to kill me at the Chunin exams. A man from outside of the village had to tell me who my father was. Naruto, your Kushina wanted to ease his anger, but he didn't let her. All I want to know was who you were. I never asked for a public announcement. Do either of you know what it's like to never know the reason why your parents abandoned you? At the time, I was so angry at Gigi for not telling me. I'd run away from him sometimes and hide. If only I knew that he was just honoring your last request of not saying anything to me. Simply because the entire village of the rock hated your damn guts. Add that to the fact that you placed the strongest tail beast inside of me. How the hell do you think I felt all this goddamn time? To learn from the enemy as well, not from those that I came to love in this world. For the life of him, Naruto didn't know what happened. Usually he was calm and level-headed, but now these emotions were exploding out of him. He's always been repressing his emotions, his anger, and now everything was bursting out. Naruto turned away, puffing and puffing, as he looked down to see his reflection on the water's surface. Naruto wasn't wearing the cloak anymore, as he had on his black suit. Something quickly crashed into him, and held on to him tight. It was his mother. She held him without saying a single word. For some reason, he relaxed. It was strange, as he felt relaxed, despite his just pent-up anger. What was his feeling? Whether or not you realize, Naruto, I'm your mother. I've watched you from when you were just a little tiny person. We have a connection, you and me, that goes far beyond anything. I know you're mad at us, and we both know that it was tough. I was a Jinjulki as well, you know. She released a hug as she went around. She caressed his face with a gentle smile on hers. Naruto couldn't help but remember Hana right now. The both of them had the same smile, that warm smile when looking at him. Kushina knew Naruto's thoughts as she saw the one that captured his heart. As she sat down beside him. So, Naruto-koi, she said, tell me about Tasumi's daughter a bit. From what I could see, you've been spending a lot of time with her. Naruto actually smiled at his mother, as he started to tell her how he met Hana. Minato looked at the scene between them and smiled. He knew that Naruto wouldn't be like that with him, considering the choices that he made. So he made his way towards a creature that started it all, in the first place by being there. When him and Kushina appeared, Kurama was smaller than usual, and his fur was dull, because of his chakra being siphoned out. By now though, his fur was flourishing once again, as his chakra was returning back. A sudden thought had passed through Minato's head. The Kyuubi was free, and he will harm his son. It seems that the fox seemed to read his mind somehow, but he did not. But he expected that Fort would think this. The fox snorted, as Minato's cloak blew back. You need not worry about my freedom, Fort. Your son can always recreate the cage and trap me. Even if I didn't have those restraints, I wouldn't do anything. You can thank your son for being the first Jinjulki who has earned my respect. Minato nodded, despite knowing that if Naruto earned the fox's respect, his hands must be soaked in blood. Naruto's hunting career was no secret to him and Kushina. His resolve to rid the world of criminals may be a noble goal, but the path was filled with chaos and blood. There was a reason why most hunter nin had to quit, because they crack under the strain. With time, they become addicted to killing, thinking that they were executioner and judge, and having a mindset like that was real bad. You are a bloodthirsty demon after all, Kyuubi. No wonder why he earned your respect. Now, there's one thing I'm worried about. What is that? I am well aware of your bond with Madara Uchiha, and by chance, if Naruto faced him in battle, I am worried that he would use you against my son. The Kyuubi snorted, but he kind of understood. Despite being the strongest tail beast, those damn eyes of Madara Uchiha always controlled him. 17 years ago when he was extracted, Madara had managed to hypnotize him, but Madara would have to extract him first to use him. Have you no faith in your own work, Fort? Despite hating your guts and wishing that I could rip it out right now. Your seal is remarkable. Even I with my power could not break it. Madara may be powerful, but compared to me with power, he's nothing but a fly compared to a giant. Minato was confused as he couldn't feel the fox impressive aura like he used to. It was almost normal to be around the creature. Perhaps his son managed impossible and tamed the strongest tail beast in existence. My seal keeps you at bay, Kyuubi, but it isn't effective against outside sources. If Madara get a hand on Naruto, he will extract you. Unlike Kushina, who was pregnant at the time, Naruto won't be in that position, plus I can offer aid if need be. You've surely changed, haven't you? Said Minato, as Minato reached down into his cloak, as he pulled out a scroll, handing towards the fox. This is the first gift I'll give him with my own hands, and the last. Since you witnessed it firsthand, I trust that you can help him in here to teach him this technique. The fox looked at the scroll, knowing exactly what it was, as he crossed eyes with the fort. What makes you trust me with this? Why not just infuse the scroll in his memory? The moment the seal was ripped, the knowledge of the Irish Inn was transferred toward him. He isn't aware of it now because so much is happening at once. But once he leaves this place, all the information, he will know how to perform it. My special kunes were kept by Jiraiya Sensei, so he will pass them to him. It seems everything I did in the long run ended up hurting him, and I can't express how hurtful that is to see him not see me as a father. Minato glanced towards him. He may never grant me the same treatment as my wife, but that's okay. It doesn't matter because he's still my son. I may not be able to change the past, but I can help with the future. Are you expecting a shoulder to cry on, Fort? I couldn't care less about your regret. What matters is that I and the brat kill our enemies. With my energy, his speed will already improve from what it normally was. With your technique, he should be able to kill Madara once and for all. I can feel that your essence is running low on energy, and it filled me with joy that I will never see your face again. Despite the jab, Minato nodded, as he felt relief he would never see the fox again either, but he would miss his son. He turned his back and walked towards Naruto and Kushina. Minato started to fade away, and so did Kushina, as Naruto looked worried. See his mother fade away. As Minato approached, both father and son locked eyes for a moment, before Minato smiled. Naruto had focused determination written all over his face, but Minato was proud of him. Yes, he was so proud of his little boy that became a man. What filled his heart even more that Naruto overcome strong boundaries to become so strong, and he did it, with little help on the way. He will need to express his feeling to his son, even if Naruto wouldn't listen. Naruto, I know that my actions wasn't the best, and I'm sorry for that. But I want you to know that I'm so proud of you for the man that you became. Both as a father and Hokage, you have my utmost respect, even if feeling is not mutual. Kushina started to cry as she didn't wish for Minato's last words with his son to be filled with hate by Naruto. As Naruto looked at the both of them, his opinion was much more than it should have been, given all the pain that he went through in his life. 17 years is too much to overcome in less than 5 minutes. As a Hokage, I understood why you did it. Dealing with the Nine-Tailed Fox and handling the situation between the Hidden Stone require concentration and time. You didn't have that. As a father though, I can't just say the same thing about what happened in the past. So much happened growing up, and I can't just pretend it never happened. I'll move forward though. After all, keep on moving forward. And I'll accept your gift as father given to son. Despite it all, you still remain my idol and role model. May I be as strong as you are, father, to my loved ones, and caring as you are, mother. Both Minato and Kushina had a big smile, him calling them mother and father. Naruto bowed in respect. We love you, the both of them said at the same time, before their essence floated away. After they were gone, Naruto looked down with a new vigor, as his entire body lit up with golden flames. With everyone's help, he would defeat his enemies. He would adapt to his new form, also the Hiraishin as well, and he would take them down. He would bring all of them down and stop this idiotic war. Time skip. The others were waiting as they saw Naruto approaching. They wonder what happened. Naruto was supposed to fight the fox for dominance. What if the fox had taken control? As Naruto saw they were ready, if anything, as the fox could use this opportunity to take control of Naruto's body instead of Naruto winning, so they were cautious around him at the moment. As he hadn't said a word, the lack of response made him worry. And to Naruto it was rather amusing. Why are you all staring at me like that, he asked. Jiraiya smirked, hearing his voice. I take it the procedure was successful. Naruto nodded, before his entire body lit up with golden flames once again, as the black markings spread across him. Jiraiya looked at the markings. They looked so familiar, but his mind just couldn't place it where he last saw them. He opted to let it go for now. There was a last part of Naruto training that needed to be done. Like the Akatsuki Jinjuki, Naruto would have to learn to use tentacles, like they were his limbs. Naruto deactivated his transformation. Jiraiya, could I speak to you in private for a while? Jiraiya nodded, as he wondered what Naruto wanted to talk about. The Mizukage didn't say anything about Naruto's request, as Jiraiya stepped forward with Naruto. As Naruto told Jiraiya everything that happened once he entered his mindscape, as Jiraiya listened and focused. Jiraiya was surprised that Kushina and Minato had left their chakra inside the seal. As Naruto started to explain, Jiraiya frowned at Naruto's behavior towards his father, but kept that to himself. The boy was old enough to realize where his feelings were regarding his parents. It was not him to decide. Naruto told him that Minato left the seal of the Hiraishin inside his memory. Jiraiya smiled hearing that. Minato had destroyed every evidence and anything regarding towards the Hiraishin when the beast was attacking the village. For a great number of reasons, Minato never shared his ability with anyone. Now he understood why. It would be Minato's first and only gift to his son Naruto. Now the only one with information on it was Naruto. Jiraiya reached for his scroll as he unsealed a smaller scroll from within it. He carried this around for a reason, so it was no other reason for him to give this to Naruto. He asked me to keep this safe from his enemy's grasp, but it seems like you want me to give it to you. Naruto took the scroll and stored it inside his own leather jacket. He would have to come with some way of using special kunais, apart from regular ones. Perhaps a stored seal near his wrist or something like that. Right now, getting used to his new form will take a lot, as he could feel his speed. It will have to be adjusted. Making their way back, Yamato and Mizukage was arguing about elemental bloodlines, as they were talking about the wood and the lava and boil elements, which of them would prevail. Choosing to leave them be for the moment, Naruto activated his transformation once more. So know that I did this, so what's next? Naruto asked Jiraiya. Well, let's understand this new transformation of yours. According to the source, the new energy that surrounds you is nothing but chakra. It's a mixture of your chakra with the Kyubes. That being said, you should be able to mold it into extra limbs. First, you will focus on doing that. Then you'll have to control your strength through them. It should feel like it's an extension of your body. There's a set of boulders nearby. That should be great for this practice. Naruto looked at his hands. Mold the energy around him should be like molding his chakra, even if it took a lot more chakra than usual. As he started to focus, he was surprised when a pillar of energy exploded from his wrist upwards. Focusing smaller quantity of chakra, he diminished the pillar until it became recognizable. It was a limb. It had 3 fingers at the end, with one opposable thumb. Closing his eyes, Naruto slammed his hands together as he started to create limbs from all over his body. As he focused 2 hands coming together, the real hand molded a Rasengan, while the other molded the wing chakra. Right in front of your own eyes, Naruto created a Rasen Shuriken by himself. Well, with just a little help from the fox chakra. That's only the beginning, brat. You could use it to mold jutsus without even using your actual hands. You could even create a new taijutsu style with multiple limbs. Naruto focused on something as the hand signs were formed by the hands, as he felt the chakra being molded inside of his lungs before he breathed out a massive, steady, controlled flame. As a smile came on Naruto's face, yes, this will do. Meanwhile, on top of the mountain, Madara Uchiha was standing. He had his battle fan with his uniform on. Next to him was his second in command, Pain, with all 6 bodies. What was different about this now was the 7th shadow behind them. When the sunlight illuminated the area, it was shown to be the Jinchurikis, except for Gaara, seeing that Naruto had rescued him. Madara realized that he waited too long for this goal. Now he'll achieve his ultimate goal, the ultimate Tsukuyomi technique, to take control of the entire elemental nation. Right now, the army created by the 5 villages was facing an army of Zetsus. Using Shikaku's engine, he managed to bolster to make the white Zetsu stronger. The army was to just tire the strong ones down, and they can use the rest of their force to kill them. In the end though, the alliance will be too weak to stand against him, Pain, and 7 Jinchurikis. In the end. Time skip at the hospital tents. As the war was going on, shinobis were making their way towards the tents to be healed, some of them badly injured than others. Some of them with nasty bruises, some of them with near-death state. Forcing the joint staff to do everything they can in their power to heal them, as there was groups of 3 medic nins everywhere. From Konoha, there was at least 200 medic nins, counting Shizune, Sakura, and Hana. As Hana was partnering with Shizune, and a medic nin from Kumo, as she was focused on healing Kunoichi at the moment, Akatsuki wanted to capture her Naruto. She would do everything she can to get them back on the battlefield, so they can stop this war and her Naruto can be safe. Of course she wanted to stay with him, but the alliance needed every medic nin they had right now in their disposal, so she wouldn't argue. She just hoped that he was alright. Time skip. With Naruto, Jiraiya, Naruto, and the Mizukage watched Naruto train. So far all he has done is picked up boulders and piled up a column right in front of him. He could pick up objects without being too forceful in destroying them. He could even use his limbs to increase the pace of his movements, building up the column and taking them out one by one. After that was over, Naruto realized he could use his limbs without fear of crushing the boulders. So he had perfect control over using limbs around. Okay, let's now proceed to the last transformation, Jiraiya said as Naruto looked at him. What are you talking about? I thought this was the last transformation. As Naruto deactivated his cloak and walked towards Jiraiya. The Raikage brother was considered the perfect Jinchuriki for a reason, Naruto, said Jiraiya. He managed to bond with his Bijou to the point where he can even transform into the beast itself. The 4 Raikage informed me if your level of bonding is what you say it is, you can transform to the Kyuubi easily. As Naruto really wondered if he could transform and take the shape of the fox. Just imagine the shape of the Kyuubi in your mind and focus on all that chakra you took from it. Naruto understood what was needed to be done, but he felt reluctant to do so. He may have created a bond with the fox, but what would happen if he transformed? Both Yamato and Mizukage did not share Jiraiya's optimistic view. They were concerned, since what would happen if he transformed into the fox? Naruto closed his eyes for a while as he got into terms of what he was about to do. As he pictured the fox in every detail, as he released all the chakra he can muster, and it exploded out. The Mizukage stepped back as she saw the mighty beast towering over her. The sight had brought back memories. Yamato and Jiraiya looked up at the massive beast above them. The beast growled dangerously as saliva started to leak from his mouth as he looked at them like they were a snack to be devoured. All three of them were prepared for the worst. Jiraiya for the life of him could not find out what the hell happened. Naruto was supposed to be in control, but suddenly, the beast started to laugh. The looks on your faces. Naruto's voice was altered because of the transformation. The shinobis all sighed at Naruto's practical joke. The Kyuubi image alone was enough to scare less well-minded man to death. But he did it. He managed to pull it off as Naruto was in control. To put their minds at ease, the fox started to shrink down as pieces of Naruto's clothing started to appear, as Naruto quickly returned back to normal. Nice job, kid. Now I believe you earned some rest time. We'll start practicing your first transformation in the middle of combat. First, you'll fight Yamato. Knowing that he has been training non-stop for the entire day, Naruto simply nodded as he made his way to his room. His chakra coils were strained from mixing both his and the fox chakra together, and he didn't want to overstrain it. He just got the transformation. Plus, with the rest was needed, and it would be good, and he could now think. He wouldn't remain behind bars for this war. He knew though that leaving his place would be hard. Neither location or people guarding him were chosen randomly. Naruto was sure that he could beat Yamato without using the fox chakra, and with it, he could handle Jiraiya and the Mizukage. The problem, however, is Yamato could use the power to suppress the fox chakra. It just wasn't right though to stay here. Akatsuki was his enemy, not the entire world. All the 5 nations coming together to rid the world of one organization. Now that he gained this power, he can finally defeat his enemies. He was already able to stand up to Kisame with just one tail of the fox chakra after all intense training. He knew that the leader must be stronger, but still, he couldn't be that much stronger than Kisame. A long sigh escaped Naruto's mouth as he collapsed on the bed, looking through the window. Complaining about the situation and having turned his head at the moment wasn't going to take him far. He needed some rest. Perhaps if he demonstrated his strength and showed them that he never needed help in the first place, they will finally understand that he didn't need protection. In order to do that, he has to defeat Jiraiya and the Mizukage one-on-one. As he knew that asking nicely was out of the question, therefore he had to fight. As he decided to get some rest. Not knowing what was going on with his lover at the moment. Time skip. At the tent. While Naruto training was going on, the war was increasing as well. More patients are coming to the hospital time after time to be treated. The joint medical staff was working overload, as many people was coming in with bad injuries, some close to death. Couple minute ninjas didn't have the amount of chakra to heal some of the wounds. Some of them even come to exhaustion in surgery, as they're working for a long while now. There was just so much ninjas coming in. Hana had to cover for at least 2 times for another because of chakra depletion. The nurses were being overrun here. Her level of stress was increased the situation as more ninjas were piling in wounds, limbs, loss, different vital and some of them non-vital injuries. After healing Akumo shinobi leg, she released him as she wiped her forehead as she released a long sigh. Her shift was almost over. Her second one in fact. And soon she'll be able to rest for a moment. She entered the medic mode near Jenin entering her tent from Kumo. With a nasty wound on her arm and she was about to faint from blood loss. Hana quickly called for a blood transfusion as she had to work fast. If she wastes any time the girl will be dead. She's lost so much blood. As another medic came over and started to inject the blood bag, while Hana started to work on the wound. The Jenin fell unconscious, but Hana was sure that she wasn't in any risk of losing her life to the procedure. It took 10 minutes for them to release the Kunoichi to the infirmary, as her life was not in any danger. So with that over, her break was now ready, as Sakura came in and take over her shift. The two didn't really talk. The cold treatment was because of Naruto's academy class, not even bother with him anymore after he became a hunter nin. Apart from her brother Kiba and Shino, everyone seemed to forget that he existed. Even when Naruto came back, no one was there to, say anything to him while he was going off. As Hana made her way to sit down, she was exhausted. She had to get up though as she felt sick to her stomach as she rushed towards the bathroom and vomit. Ever since the war has begun, she's been puking. Was it stress of not knowing if Naruto was okay? She also realized some changes to her body lately. A few seconds before the nausea, she felt a strong stomach ache. Other times she was alone and no one expected anything. This time though, she wasn't alone. Shizune had saw her rush off, as Shizune stopped right at the booth. "Are you okay, Hana-san?" The sudden voice alerted Hana, as she couldn't allow anyone to know that this was going on. I'm alright, Shizune Teiko. Working 2 shifts caused a lot of strain in my chakra coils. I just need some rest. As captain of the Konoha medic team, Shizune was required to go over all the files of the medic names. She knew that Hana was one of the few that possessed large amount of chakra in the group. While it was true the amount of work could lead to the symptom, Shizune knew that Hana had the worst days, and it never led to this. Hana told that she was fine, but Shizune insisted. As she started to check her over, I'm responsible for the well-being of the medics of Konoha, Hana-san. I have to make sure that you're okay. Hana released a sigh and relented. Shizune, eyes widening when she figured out the cause. What is it? Hana, you're pregnant. Hana eyes widened instantly. Her last lovemaking with Naruto was vicious. She remembered how wild it was because of her hormones. But she never remembered how it ended. She was so driven to ravish her bedroom. Hana, eyes suddenly closed. What was left of her chakra, after healing for so long today, was going towards the infant in her womb. As she fainted, causing Shizune to caught her. She needed to remove Hana from the field immediately, as she also needed Yamanaka. She needed to inform Tsunade about this, but a smile came on her face, as she knew that Hana was Naruto's girlfriend. When all of this is over, they are going to be parents. As this would be good for Naruto, yes. This would be wonderful for him. Time skip with Naruto. Unaware of the situation going on right now, Naruto was training as Yamato and Jiraiya was there. They were going over his speed as they were throwing kunais and shuriken towards him. The golden trail left off by his speed of motion was amazing to them as he appeared on one side, another golden blur, and he was on the other side of the field. If you did not look closely, it was like he was teleported as Jiraiya saw Minato, as Naruto was there moving like a flash. It was clear that regarding speed, Naruto was all set. Now it was time for a ninjutsu. Checking his extra limbs. Being the ninjutsu fanatic, Naruto started work immediately as he formed 2 Rasengan in his hand and used his extra limbs to mold Rasengans. Out of the blue, Naruto was holding 6 Rasengan at once. Those weren't like the Rasengan Shuriken, so he couldn't show them. As he dissipated them, as he gathered his 4 extra limbs and his 2 arms, as he molded a huge amount of chakra from much larger Rasengan. Within seconds, Naruto created a 4-meter diameter Rasengan. While the one he could create with Sage Chakra was more larger, this one was more compact on the inside with much more energy. As Naruto created another Rasengan and add the wind element to it, as he created another Wind Jutsu Rasengan below it, create a new technique, Wind Release, Shadow Spiral, Shuriken Rasengan. If one was not enough and the enemy dodged or evaded, he wouldn't notice the second one right in its shadow. Naruto was on fire with techniques, showing how creative he was when it comes towards ninjutsu, as he reduced the size of the Rasengan Shuriken, so reducing the time that it needed to be created. If he needed that entire hand to do one, he could probably even use a finger, creating a small Shuriken Rasengan with 2 extra limbs coming from his finger. As Naruto threw it at a large rock in front of him, the thing sliced the rock before exploding. Wind Release, Mini Rasengan Shuriken. Why not use more than 1 finger? As Naruto did on all fingers, creating 10 Mini Rasengan Shuriken. It took more time to finish all 10 of them though, as he threw it. The explosion was catastrophic, as the others were watching in amazement how Naruto was creating these techniques in a whim, and they were so destructive. The Mizukage started to believe that hiding Naruto here, instead of using him in the war, was wrong. If they were going to train him, all 3 of them need to team up against him if they were going to actually pose a challenge. The Mizukage wasn't aware of this, but Naruto was actually counting on them attacking him all at once. He had 2 times as much limbs, so it was logical to place all of them against him than just one. He was indeed strong, but could he hold his own against Akagi, a Sanin, and an elite former Anbu captain? Only time will tell though. Time skip. Hana woke up at the hospital tent, or so she thought. Yesterday events were slowly returned to her, before the big news slapped her right again. She was pregnant. The amount of love making between her and Naruto, there was probably even 3 babies gonna be conceived. As she remembered the both of them going at it real while. But her source of distress at the moment was the timing. Not only Konoha but the elemental nation are facing a war that they weren't certain who was going to win. And the protocol. With her situation, the participation of her in the war was cancelled. She knew that in day now she had to be transferred back to Konoha. Released that side, she lost focus a bit. As Hana was a proud kunoichi, she wanted to help Naruto, She wanted to defeat the enemy by help in any way possible. She was so engrossed in her thoughts, she wasn't aware of the new presence inside. Said Tsunade. Hana turned in surprise. Tsunade-sama, what are you doing here? I thought you were supposed to remain in the other Kakis. Hana-chan, since you passed out yesterday, you do not recall what happened next. After you passed out yesterday, Shizune asked for your immediate transfer to this facility that we're now residing in. I was deeply surprised when I heard one of my mates were pregnant. I was even more surprised to hear that it was you. As Tsunade checked over Hana's body. As Hana looked at her, it was no mystery that Tsunade considered her like family, probably even like a son. But there was a big smile on Tsunade's face as she reached towards Hana's stomach. In a way, seeing that she considered her as her son, their child would be like her grandchild. Perhaps now the Hokage wouldn't be pissed off when her boyfriend called her Bachan. Tsunade-sama, is everything alright? Tsunade simply nodded with that heartwarming smile on her face. Everything is fine. Now, in normal situations, you would immediately be transferred back to Konoha. However, now the village is in lockdown with Anbu patrolling it night and day to protect it. With the situation we're in right now, I believe it's best if you remain here, under the Kage protection. This building location won't be affected by the war, so you'll be safe. Hana nodded. Plus, said Tsunade she wasn't done. We'll have to watch your baby closely. We have yet to test if the KUB will alter their DNA, or if anything will change because of him. Right now, you have to relax, Hana. I know you inherit a lot of traits from your mother, but you need to relax at the moment, okay? Try not to think about the war. As Tsunade started to walk away, but she stopped. Oh, I forgot. I'll have Inuichi contact Jiraiya in order to tell Naruto about the good news. I trust that isn't a problem. Damn it. She almost forgot about telling him. I can't do this right now, she thought. Naruto was already so pissed about being confined. He would want to leave immediately to be with her, and she didn't want to put him in trouble. Tsunade-sama is possible. I was hoping to keep it a secret until this war is over. By the look on Tsunade's face, she was clearly disapproving this. If he knows about it, he will no doubt want to leave. The place is being protected right now. If that happens, I don't want him to be in danger, she said. No matter how much I want him to be here right now with me, I can't in good conscience allow him to be captured. Tsunade started to ponder on what Hana said. Knowing Naruto and the mindset he had right now, and seeing that he wanted Hana to come with him in the first place, he would probably release the Kyuubi to strike down anyone that tried to stop him to get to Hana. Okay, Hana-chan. I won't tell him anything for now. Simply relax, okay? I'll personally see how you are from time to time. Hana smiled at that and nodded as she lied back down, trying to close her eyes. She wondered if Naruto would be angry for not telling him right away, but she knew that it was the right thing to do right now. She needed to think and act rationally, especially in her boyfriend's case. Even if indirectly so, he's basically the entire reason why the Akatsuki started this war in the first place. She didn't want to put more stress on his head just because of her. But this war will be over soon. She knew that the elemental nations will come out on top. The enemy can never win. And she would tell him, as she imagined him find out he's gonna be a father. A smile came to her face. As she touched her stomach, she was gonna be a mother. Whoever you are in there, girl or boy, I will love you with every ounce of my heart, she said, as she smiled towards her stomach. But guys, be in this episode right here. If once this part, this or to do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification as they posted. But I'm out for now. See you guys soon. Oh yeah, remember to check out Anime King 3. I'm gonna be posting a new episode over there, and I do hope that you guys enjoy. But I'm out for now, guys. See you guys soon. Peace.